Hey everybody, how's it going? Welcome to another episode of Off the Top Rope, the wrestling podcast where we recap everything in the world of AEW and WWE. We are broadcasting on three different channels. So Facebook, main channel, and the wrestling channel, but it would only be archived on the Off the Top Rope channel. So please, if you haven't already done so, go over there and subscribe to Off the Top Rope. Because that's where everything is going to be archived at. I will put the link in the live chat so you guys can go over there, sub. That way you guys can listen to everything back. So Austinator, Raw, Dynamite.
Oh yeah.
I guess we'll start with Raw. I thought Raw was a little disappointing, but there was one highlight in Raw, I think. Well, there was a couple of highlights in Raw. Let me shut up. I thought the Drew McIntyre stuff. I think Drew, like on the road to WrestleMania, I think Drew has been the best thing for me. Yeah. For me anyway. I because he comes across real.
Yeah.
Where I feel like everybody else is playing a character. You know, you have The Rock on SmackDown singing a song. Like I rolled my eyes so hard on that. And like my brother was like, but that's what The Rock always does. I'm like, I understand that, but that was 20 years ago.
Yeah.
You know, like. So here's the thing: we're going into WrestleMania. Cody has been his whole life has been up to this moment, right? Like it's been leading up to this moment to get his chance. This is the final chance he's gonna get, right? Like everything is leading up to this moment, and we're talking and we're doing mama jokes and singing songs, and I'm like, what the hell is going on? And then the champion is not even there.
No.
You know, I was talking to Rome on Storm Nation, and I was like, man, I just don't feel like the sense of urgency in this match. I don't feel like the intensity in this main event match. And he brought up a great point. He's like, well, Rob, that's because the champion's not even there. I'm like, you know what? You're right. Like how when you have a UFC fight or a boxing fight, you know, you have the champion and the challenger, and they're going at it in the press. Yeah. But when you have your champion not even there, and then you have like a 20-minute concert for Memphis for some weird ass reason, it really takes the edge off the whole spot. You know, it takes the edge completely off, and it bothers me, right? It really bothers me because I want to see a sense of realism. Drew McIntyre is giving me that.
Yeah.
You know, the Drew McIntyre, he's like, you know, I lost or I won the title in front of nobody, blah, blah, blah. This means everything to me. Like it's a character, but he's putting realism in it. Whereas The Rock he's just doing Hollywood stuff. And I don't think the Cody Rhodes promo was hit and miss, right? Like he said a couple one-liners that was really good, but then he said stuff that kind of didn't go anywhere. He's like, I know your mom, Rock. And then that's it. He just like, oh, she's a really good lady, man. Go like, what are you doing? Like, what are you doing, bro? In 2 weeks, you're gonna be in the biggest match of your career for the second time, and you're over there like, oh, I know your mom. Like, come on, bro. You know, I'm not a big fan of Vince Russo, but Vince Russo is like shitting on this whole main event, and he's right. Because it's a mess.
Yeah.
You know? Anyway, take it over, Austin, man. Maybe I'm just ranting just a rant.
Well, at least with the Drew stuff, at least Seth is there to at least like continue building up the match. Because the problem with the Cody and Roman stuff, the only thing that they're building up towards is Rock versus Cody at a later time. Like, Roman's not even there. So it's not the storyline's not even about Roman anymore. It's literally about The Rock versus Cody.
Yeah.
That's not even your main event. Your main event of night 2 is Roman versus Cody. This is not The Rock versus Cody, Dwayne. And look, I like seeing the Hollywood theme come back on SmackDown. But this ain't about you, Dwayne. This is about the main event of WrestleMania. This is just because you're main eventing night 1, it makes no sense.
Yeah.
And I at least appreciate that Cody got his balls back after last week, where he was like, "Oh, you know, I'm fake crying. I just
want to give the belt to my mom." You know, like, Yeah, and then he man, he went from fake crying to man taking serious real quick.
It's just like it makes you roll your eyes a little bit because it's just like, all right, Cody, you're melodramatic here. Let's go, keep it going. Yeah, the Drew stuff I thought was pretty good. It continued like I'm I'm one of those people that like I'm gonna keep saying it till I'm blue in the face. I've always liked Drew McIntyre. I've followed some of his stuff in the indies. And he is real. And I think that's the part that's really funny. Is like he's the heel, but yet he's not saying anything that's wrong.
Yeah. Like, tell me when I'm telling lies, because he's being 100% accurate on everything.
He's like, man, I hate CM Punk. He's a cancer. I'm like,
He's not wrong.
He ain't completely wrong there. And he's like, well, Jey Uso, who could trust Jey Uso? I'm like, yeah, he's right. He's right. He's part of the bloodline. So it's, and then he's like, well, Seth Rollins, he's a loser. I'm like, kind of right. Like, realistically, Drew McIntyre is like, he looks like a star. He is a world champion. And he's one of those guys that rebuilt himself and made himself into something, because when he first came in, like he was like this very
I hated him when he first came in.
Oh, it was bad.
But see, it's not his fault. Vince was throwing him in everybody's throat. See, that's what Vince does. When Vince feels like he has a star, he crams them in people's face, even when they're not ready. He did the same thing with Jack Swagger. Jack Swagger was not world championship material, like at all, and he just crammed that dude in people's face. He did the same thing with Jack Swagger. He did it with Drew McIntyre when Drew McIntyre first got there. He did it with a couple people, and the more you do it, the more I just don't want to deal with the guy.
Yeah,
So I think Drew is firing on all cylinders, especially now that Vince isn't around. So yeah, he's got the look, he's got the tone, he's got the attitude, he can wrestle, he's got the whole package right now. Right? I would say he's the more complete package on WWE than anybody else, man. Like Cody's trying to do like this. I don't know what Cody, man. I'm really falling off Cody. I don't want to feel off Cody. Vince should have pushed Shelton Benjamin. Facts.
Yeah, he
facts.
Yeah,
100% facts. And I also, speaking of facts, right here, Joey is saying the Cody Rock Roman promos are hit and miss 100% because there was so much time from that press conference in Vegas to WrestleMania that they didn't have enough shit to fill up all that stuff. It started so hot, man. The first 3 weeks or so, like every promo was so hot. Seth Rollins coming out like, what are you going to do, Cody? And then the whole thing in Vegas and everything. It was so good. And then somewhere down the line, we got men crying and men singing, songs that like, what are we doing? And I hate we live in the era now to where if you're a baby face, you can't say anything mean.
Yeah.
Because Stone Cold was one of the biggest baby faces, and he didn't give a fuck what he said about anybody.
No.
It's like, oh, well, be careful, Cody. You can't say it like that because that's going to come off heelish. I thought some of the stuff Cody did worked. Like him breaking the fourth wall with the heel term. Like we know what heel means, But a couple things we said was like little dick syndrome. That shit was funny. Roman side chick, that was funny. The one-liners were good, but it felt like you had dinner and you're surrounded with all this like crap and you're just moving the crap to get to the stuff you actually want. And that's what his promo was for me. And I don't know, man. I don't know. And I don't like this whole thing where The Rock is the final boss. How are you the final boss? Roman's the final boss. Like, did you ever play a video game? If you are the obstacle to get in the way of the final obstacle, by definition, you are not the final boss, Rock.
Well, maybe he's the secret final boss that we don't know about.
Maybe
you have to put in a cheat code or something to unlock the final level or something, or you got it. It's just so weird. Like, I get that he's on the TKO board of directors, but it's like, it's like they've been building up like this whole Roman thing for the last 4 years, and then now it's like No, you're no longer the final boss. I'm the final boss. It's like it makes me roll. It's just it's almost like they're just like it's almost apparent at this point that we're going to get Roman Rock at some point, and I know we're going to get it next year. So it's almost like they're making it apparent, like, oh, we know we're giving you this, but next year we're getting our main event. So you know what? You better suck it up and you better like it.
Yeah. I did like the fact that Cody was like, you know, you want to make fun of me crying, but you've been crying behind the scenes the whole time because it's true.
Yeah.
I'm glad. See, that's the stuff I like. You know, some of the best stories in wrestling has a part of reality mixed into them, you know?
Yeah.
And that's what I want. I want to see more of that. Like, give me the dirt, man. Give me the tea. Don't play these characters on the screen. Like get us invested. Why do we care about you? You know, that's the stuff I like. You go back and you look at the promos last year at leading up to WrestleMania with Roman versus Cody. You know, there was a lot of shots fired, like, oh, you left, you know, and all this stuff. And then, you know, they're saying like Paul Heyman's like, Roman is the son that Dusty never had. Like, those were the things I want. And now we're sitting there, we're just singing songs. Like, what are we doing? Like, I thought the Usos promo was least better than Cody's promo.
Yeah.
I thought Drew's promo was really good. I'm really liking what's going on with Rhea going into the women's championship. Like, I feel like there's so many different, like, even the Sami Zayn stuff is, to me, is more interesting. You know, like the David versus Goliath sort of thing. I don't think it makes any sense at all. And what I mean by that is you have Chad Gable going, you can't beat him, right? And then Sami Zayn comes back like, why can't you think I can't beat him? He's like, well, because you just can't. You're not physical. Blah 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 blah. I'm like, Chad Gable, you lost twice to this guy. Who the fuck are you to talk about this guy can't beat him? So I think that stuff doesn't make any sense. But I don't know, man. I'm not feeling the Mania hype. I'm not.
Maybe at least in defense of the Chad Gable thing, like maybe it's like a loss of like confidence type of thing where he's like, all right, well, I lost. I've given up. You know, maybe it's they're doing something like that, but it's like, you know, I mean, honestly, like the Mania hype is kind of there, but it's more of like But the problem is when you have so much like time in between pay-per-views,
that's the problem.
Like then the hype starts to die down a little bit. Not to say that the matches themselves will be bad, just more like, all right, let's kind of get it over
I mean, there's a lot of matches I'm looking forward to. I'm really looking forward to the Drew match. I'm really looking forward to the Intercontinental title match. I'm really looking forward to the Rhea Ripley match. So there's like a lot of matches I'm really looking forward to. It's just like you said, we have so much in between time from Elimination Chamber to Mania that it's just like stopgaps and there's so much filler. And I'm just like, man, like I was fast forwarding through Raw. Like I was on Hulu and I'm just sitting there. I'm like, all right, I watched this segment. Oh, we got a tag team elimination chamber or elimination match, whatever. I'm fast forward through that, you know, and I try to get to the good stuff, but it just feels like there's a lot of filler. I feel like the shots aren't being fired from the team, and it doesn't help when your world champion is not even present when you're just weeks. Why doesn't this guy? Can someone please tell me why this guy doesn't show up? Is his leukemia back? Is he like really sick in real life? Like, because unless you tell me that his cancer has returned, there should be no reason why your world champion is not booked weeks before WrestleMania.
Yeah, we don't know if like we don't know if he's hurt. We don't know if he's sick. We don't know if he's just taking some time off. But then it's like he's already taken a lot of time off at this point. So it's like,
what does he need time off from? He doesn't wrestle. He does not wrestle. Like, I don't understand this shit. Like, I just got back into WWE about a couple years ago, and I never see this dude do anything. Right? Maybe 10 matches in the past 2 years that I've seen. Like, what does he need to rest for? He doesn't wrestle. Like I'm seeing guys putting on 5-star matches week in and week out, like Will Ospreay, with no time off. And this dude, he's barely there. You can have time off and still get on the microphone to promote your goddamn match.
Sure.
Instead of sitting there having The Rock sing us fucking lullabies and bedtime stories and shit.
Like you could literally do if you're not gonna be there, at least like do like promos like via satellite or something, or like have like backstage stuff. Like you don't like it's one of those things where because like I've argued with this with a person that I co-host my wrestling show with on my channel where he's like, oh, they need to have Roman break Hogan's record. I'm like, well, first of all, that doesn't make sense because of why are we keeping the belt on him for third place? That makes no sense. Well, who does that benefit? Nobody.
And records don't mean anything.
No.
Records don't mean anything. Like they just don't. One is predetermined, so you don't need records. And the one record I would argue that actually was worth anything was Undertaker's winning streak at WrestleMania, and they fucked that up. That was like the only streaks or records that were worth anything. Like having this fake wrestler beat this fake wrestler's record doesn't do anything. It doesn't elevate the talent around it. Doesn't elevate the title at all. No. It doesn't make any sense for him to be. And like you said, okay, so that puts him in third place. What does that do?
Like if it was close to first place, then maybe there's an argument there. But we're talking third place.
Yeah.
Why does it matter? And even then, what are you going to have him do in between then? He's not going to show up. So what? He's going to break the record by just doing nothing? Like, because he's like, oh, well, you could have Cody with the belt at Survivor Series. We don't know how hot he's going to be going into that, going after WrestleMania. If you don't strike now, you fucked it.
Yeah.
Like, and there's nobody believable left, and it's stale. The main event scene, at least on SmackDown, is stale because there's nobody there that's even believable, or Roman's already beat them already. It's the only other money match I could see coming out of it is him and Bobby Lashley, but that's it. And and what are they going to do? Is Bloodline Civil War 2? Electric Boogaloo where Roman and Rock fight Solo and Jimmy? Like
they got to do something because this Bloodline storyline is starting to get pretty stale. I think it started running its course. I thought it picked up around SummerSlam when Jay and them kind of split. I thought it picked up right there, but then it hasn't done nothing. Like Jimmy is acting a fool. Solo is being Solo. Rock is singing song. They're turning into a joke. The whole Bloodline is turning into Judgment Day, and I'm just like, man, what are we doing here? Like I understand it's entertainment that you're supposed to entertain, but man, I don't want to see like just a slapstick comedy show from these guys. I want to see some intense moments. Like give us something, and it's really falling apart, man. Really falling apart.
It's just Cody, like if Cody does not win a WrestleMania, you screwed it. You screwed all of it. Like why go like at that point? Then you should have just went ahead and did Rock and Roman this year if you were gonna.
They need to go ahead and if they don't have Cody win this year, then I don't know, bro. The fans are gonna have to backlash like tremendously in order to get some change going on because it's stale right now, man. It really is. It really is.
Like it's gotten to the point where now it's beyond ridiculous. Like, when the whole Bloodline thing started, I was for it because I was like, hey, Roman's no longer wearing the laser tag vest. He's kind of seems like the Godfather. I'm like, okay, this is kind of cool. All right, a year goes by. All right, you had him beat Brock at Mania. You had him unify the two belts. Okay, that's fine. That's cool. Then the next year happens. He beats Cody. It's like, oh, this is not going. Oh, the Bloodless War. Okay, that's kind of cool. Oh, you had him. Jimmy's back with the Bloodline. Okay. Oh, he's gonna fight LA Knight. Okay, that's weird.
Yeah.
And then okay, he beats LA Knight. All right, well there goes his main event push. He's gonna beat a Finn. Oh, never mind. He's gonna win anyway. It's so stale. Like
you know what it reminds me of? It reminds me of a television show that starts off super hot for the first couple of seasons, and they just run out of ideas. And by season 5 and 6, it's just nobody's watching because the idea ran. When you come up with these things, you need to have an end game, right? Sort of like over in AEW when they were doing the devil angle with MJF, like who's the devil, who's the devil, right? Well, Adam Cole got hurt, so they kept trying to extend the story. But by them extending it, by the end of it, it was just stale.
Yeah.
And I feel like the bloodline storyline is just it's being extended so much that I do like the premise of like this historic wrestling family, this bloodline, you know, like I like that. But they're not making them badasses. One, you split one of the brothers off, so already you have a fraction family, right? If this was like a real like mobster movie or whatnot, bro, it would have been a hit out on him, you know, or something, you know. And in a mobster movie, your main guy isn't gone all the time. You know, they could have done so many different things with this. My biggest thing is they got to do something with Roman. He's the one that they need to fix because you can't have a bloodline with just Jimmy, Paul Heyman, and Solo. You can't. You need to have Roman. And it's not fair for the fans or whatnot. If he can't make it because the health reasons and whatnot, you drop the fucking belt and then you go do whatever you want to do, and then you tell a different story with somebody else because it's starting to get ridiculous, man. Ridiculous. Yeah. Dude shows up once a month. Acknowledge me, bro. You haven't even been here. The best line Cody had was when he was in Vegas, and he's like, "Who cares? Who's you know?" When he started talking about like who's at the table when none of you guys been doing the cooking for the past couple years, right? That was the best line because it was true. That's the stuff I want to see, right? Like get that sense of realism in there because it's true. These motherfuckers have never been around, but yet they hold titles, they hold higher ups at TKO, all kinds of different stuff. Yeah, man. I'm over it, man. I'm over it. Give me good stories, WWE. Give me good stories.
I'm hoping that we'll actually start getting them after Mania once, like they kind of have like their big reset, not really like reset, but more of like we get a refresh, and we actually get some fresh like stories and not because it's stagnant. And going back to the Rock, like sing song thing, I wouldn't mind it if the buildup was Rock and Cody, but the problem is this is more about Cody finishing his story. Like, I understand you have to do the tag match night 1. Okay, that's going to be the main event. But that's not the important main event. Like, it's a main event, but realistically, the night 1 main event is only main event because it's 2 nights.
Yeah.
Your main event is Cody Rhodes finishing the story against Roman Reigns. But when your main buildup not even Roman Reigns involved in it, it's ridiculous.
I agree.
And I don't know if it's intentional to make Roman an afterthought, so that way they start the buildup to Rock and Roman next year. But it's just ridiculous. And I really hope that they do not try and swerve us and have Roman retain, because you do that. Because the problem is with doing like swerves can be fine if it makes sense. When Vince Russo does it, it doesn't make sense. Because like one time they had Jim Duggan join Team Canada for something like that made no sense.
Yeah,
and it's like do not like sometimes predictability is fine. Do not you don't need as long as it makes sense. If Cody wins, okay, cool. He wins. You did it. Great. Roman Rock next year, fine. I'll accept that. Because that's a compromise. That's a compromise. It's like, all right, you don't want it this year. We'll do it next year. We'll give you what you want, but we'll do what we want next year. Okay, cool. Fine. Do what you want. Don't swerve. Don't do it.
Yeah.
Well, because if they go through all of this to have Roman retain just to have him face The Rock for the title next year, it makes no sense.
The thing is, Oh, I didn't mean to cut you off, Austin. Go ahead.
No, you're good. No, it's Roman Rock doesn't even need a title to begin with. It actually makes it more unpredictable if you don't have the belt on the line. So I would just say, just don't swerve, have Cody win. Because if you don't, and like I'm going to keep saying it, if you do not have Cody win, you screwed the pooch.
The thing is, the thing with wrestling is wrestling at its core is the good guys versus the bad guys.
Yeah.
And you have the good guys chase the bad guys, but at the end of the day, the good guys are supposed to win.
Yeah.
You need to have that moment. You can't be going on 4 years now and the good guy just doesn't win, because you're going to start to lose some fans. You are. Like, I remember the reason why I fell off WWE the last time was, I think The Rock beat CM Punk at the Royal Rumble for the title, and I was like, oh, this is bullshit, and I just stopped watching. I'm like, I'm done. I'm done with that. I'm like, it's over with, And then I'll tune back in a couple years, see what the hell is going on, But yeah, it's ridiculous. Just right now, the whole Roman thing bothers me. I watch WWE for the story. Yeah. I sure as hell don't watch it for the wrestling, because the wrestling ain't good. I watch it for the story. I watch AEW for the wrestling. But if I'm going to watch WWE, give me a compelling story. And they're not doing that. Like you said, the SmackDown main event scene is a mess right now. You were pushing like LA Knight and all this stuff, and now LA Knight's wrestling AJ Styles for some fucking weird reason. Like, why was he going for the United States? Who needs the United States title more? Kevin Owens and Randy Orton, or LA Knight?
Those two don't really need it, to be honest. I think LA Knight needs it probably the most.
Yes. Randy Orton is at the level where he never has to win another title, because his status won't change. He's not the title won't elevate him whatsoever. I would say the same thing with Kevin Owens. Kevin Owens doesn't need to win a title, especially a mid-card title.
No. He literally just main evented 2 WrestleManias in a row. Why is he wrestling for a mid-card belt? Other than just to have him on the show. Yeah.
LA Knight should have been in that program, the United States title program.
I mean, I'm more interested in LA Knight finishing his story against the TV that he's been beating up. like the only thing that's really good out of this is just AJ Styles just being the ultimate hater and traveling to Australia just to cost the guy a match. I thought that was funny.
But that was hilarious. So we spent the first 30 minutes on WWE. Is there anything else you want to talk about before we shift over to AEW?
The only other thing is, I appreciate what they're doing with Candice LeRae right now, and having her be also again a hater by telling Maxine Dupree that she sucks and breaking someone's leg. That was pretty cool. But that's all I got.
Yeah, I mean, if you guys have any questions, if you're watching in the live chat, I mean, feel free, submit questions. We'll be more than happy to answer any of your questions. So this is like a group community get together. So feel free to chat. You have any questions, just say, hey, yo, how do you feel about this? And we'll talk about it. But right now we're going to shift over to AEW. I feel like AEW had a lot more shit going on this week.
Yeah.
So we're going to shift over there, but hey, feel free to leave questions in the comments and we'll get to them. So yeah, AEW, I am frustrated. Look, this ain't going to be Rob just ranting on WWE. I'm going to be ranting on AEW too. Because AEW, they be doing some shit that you just scratch your head and like, why the fuck do you do that? So they had not one, but 2 title changes, and they got a pay-per-view coming out in 2 weeks. And I'm like, why didn't you just save this shit for the pay-per-view? Like, why? Like it doesn't make no sense, Austin. You had a show called Big Business, right? And then the title changes happened the week after Big Business. What the fuck? Like, what's going on? You have a show that you promoted for a month called Big Business in Boston, right? And then you have 2 major title changes the week after. Doesn't make any sense. I can understand the TNT title because you want to do that in Edge and Christian's hometown. All right, I'll buy that one. I think it's a poor excuse, but I'll buy that logic. Why didn't the Continental title get changed last week on Big Business? Why did you do 2 title changes in the same damn show? I know the reason, because you want Okada to go into the pay-per-view against Pac as champion. I understand the reason, but you could have pulled that trigger last week.
Yeah.
This is the shit that bothers me about AEW. WWE has a bunch of fucking problems when it comes to storytelling and stuff. AEW has a bunch of problems when it comes to scheduling, because the way they book shit sometimes, I'm like, this makes no sense. You could have had an awesome card for Dynasty if you would have had like Okada versus Kingston, right?
Yeah.
Okay, you might have to push the Pac match back a couple pay-per-views. That's fine. I'd rather that Eddie Kingston Okada match, and I do think Okada versus Pac will be a much better match than Eddie Kingston. Newsflash, guys, I think Eddie Kingston can't wrestle. I came to the conclusion this past Wednesday that I have not seen an Eddie Kingston match that he actually was good in. I have not seen it. I've been watching AEW for 2 years, and I have not seen an Eddie Kingston match that he was good in. I was at Dynamite, the go-home episode with him versus Daniel Bryan for the Continental title championship, the tournament, right? The finals will go on into the tournament right before he fight Jon Moxley. That was a 25-30 minutes of just slapping. Like you have great wrestlers like Okada and Daniel Bryan in the ring with Eddie Kingston, and he sucks. That's why they took the belt off him, because they're like, nah, we're gonna have him versus Pac at the pay-per-view. Hey, cover for me real quick. I got a text message.
So the AEW thing where Okada beat Kingston, I mean, it was pretty predictable anyway that he was going to win the belt, because it was like Okada just came in, you weren't going to have him come in and lose to Eddie Kingston. The match itself was fine, but it's one of those things where I don't know who's like, I think Okada's maybe like, this is maybe a little issue with Okada's like, Okada being used to wrestling longer matches, when you get to the 20-minute point, he's still in first gear, where by 20 minutes, you should be by like second, third gear at the latest. So, and I watched Eddie Kingston and Bryan Danielson at Revolution, and I thought that was pretty good. But I mean, I don't think Eddie Kingston's a bad wrestler. I mean, he's a great promo.
He's a great promo.
Yeah, he's very
great. Like, every time he talks, I'm like, yeah. Because he says some stupid ass shit sometimes, man.
Yeah.
Like he doesn't script anything. Like you could hear him just talking, and it's just him talking. But like one of my favorite phrases, I still say this like every day since he said it. When he was face to face with Mox going into World's End for the Continental title, he's like, "I'm not like your little bitch ass." Like when he's talking about Yuta, like that little bitch ass Yuta. Like that shit was hilarious. But I don't think the dude can wrestle, man. I don't know. Show me a good Eddie Kingston match. Show me, and I'll change my mind. But for what I've seen, I was sitting there yesterday on the couch with my wife. We were watching Dynamite, and the match was going on. And I remember looking at her, and I'm like, "Man, Eddie can't wrestle." And she looked at me. She's like, "You think?" And she's like, "I've been telling you that for months." I'm like, "Man, I don't know, bro.
I don't know either. Like, I don't know if it's because it's just a timing issue, or like, I don't know what it is. Cause like, I don't think he's bad. I don't know if like, it's one of those things. Maybe it's just style differences. Maybe.
I think it's a style difference, because you're like the last few matches he's been going up in, Daniel Bryan, he's a very good technical wrestler. Okada, very good technical wrestler. Eddie Kingston's a brawler.
Yeah.
He's not going to be doing like high flying shit. Like he's very like when he was in the ring with Okada, it just felt like he was very stiff. Like he was stiff to pick him up. He was stiff to do like a simple move. He was very stiff because he's more of a brawler. He's not a wrestler. He's a brawler. And I don't think they're booking him. Him having the Triple Crown Championship was not in his best interest, because I feel like that kind of showcased his weak spots as a professional wrestler. It's okay if you're Styles brawler. That's cool. But book a match that elevates that brawler style.
Yeah.
Like I thought his match with John Moxley at World's End was much better because John Moxley can also do a brawling style as well as a technical wrestler style.
Yeah.
You know, so I thought that match was much better, but you have to put him in the ring with someone that can match that style. When you have someone on the level as Okada, it reminded me when William Regal wrestled Goldberg, and he made Goldberg just look like awful because Goldberg didn't know what the hell to do. That's where it wasn't as bad, but that's sort of why I got flashbacks of.
Yeah. I don't know. Like Eddie Kingston's such a weird one for me because it's like I like the guy, I respect the guy, but at the same time he's not like my cup of tea. Like I don't tune into Dynamite to watch Eddie Kingston. Like,
did you see his promo after the match? It was hilarious. He's like, "See, this one gets me mad. You know, I didn't get fireworks." I'm like, "What are you complaining? Yeah, what are you complaining?" He's like, because he was sitting in the back, just like the after the pay-per-view, the last pay-per-view where he had to fight Bryan Danielson, and the winner had to shake his hand, and they're both sitting on the bed in the back, and he's like, "See, Daniel, that's all I wanted, was just some respect, bro." Like, I'm just like, bro, what are you talking about right now? Oh my God.
He's like, please just put some respect on the belt like I tried to do. And I'm just like, all right, I'm like, I respect what the promo was trying to do. It's just like, oh God, okay.
Yeah. Punk Fitness said, "What's our thoughts on the House of Black?" I like the House of Black. They don't do shit with them.
No.
Nothing. Well, last year they had the trios title for a while, but like they don't do shit with Malachi. They don't do shit with Buddy Matthews. Like they don't do shit with these guys. Like you have the Acclaim running around with the triple or the trios titles. Like Billy Gunn shouldn't be wrestling, man. No. Just should not be wrestling. So the Acclaim should have the tag titles, and House of Black, I would still argue that Malachi should be in singles. You know, have Malachi wrestle. Like you have so many mid-card titles now: the TNT title, the Continental title, the International title. Bro, let them go compete for one of those fucking third place titles. You know, like come on. They're not doing. The only person in the House of Black doing anything is Julia Hart.
That's it. She's got the TBS title, I think.
So yeah, she got the TBS title, man.
So it's like you said, they have 3 mid-card belts. You can't afford to like have them win one. Like it's just it.
The rumor I'm hearing, and I don't know how I feel about it. I think I would be okay with it. Rumor is so All In is basically going to be their WrestleMania, because their biggest show, right? Even though it's in London and whatnot. So the rumor is Swerve is going to win the title this pay-per-view, which they should. Like he should have. I would argue he should have won the title last pay-per-view.
Yeah.
But he's going to win the title. In the meantime, Okada is going to be racking up these mid-card titles and start collecting all the mid-card titles. Like he's going to win the TNT title, the international title, and then somewhere down the line, Ospreay is going to win the world's title. And then there's going to be a match at All In, Ospreay World Championship versus Okada and his million other championships that he has. So I don't know how I feel about that one. I think I'd rather see Ospreay beat Swerve at All In for the title.
Yeah.
I think Ospreay and Swerve could have a great match.
I think it's going to be a really good match. However, I've had this thought since Revolution. If they're going to do Joe and Swerve at Dynasty, I have a really, really weird feeling that Hangman's going to come back and screw Swerve out of the title.
They can't keep. No, you might be right. You might be. You might be right, and I feel like that's something that's possibly happened. And you're right, Daniel. See, I think Julia Hart has been impressive lately, but this is the thing that bothers me. You can't keep prolonging these title things. You can't have. First of all, the way I criticize the Roman and Bloodline stuff getting stale, you can't keep doing the Hangman versus Swerve angle. It's been almost a year now. Okay.
Yeah.
Right. If anything, have Swerve win and then go into a championship package with Hangman. You know, don't have him cost him again, because you need to strike when the iron's hot on people.
Yeah.
You know, if the like he was so hot in December, Swerve was. They should have done something in December, January with Swerve, having him win that title. Once MJF kind of left, you know, Swerve should have beat Samoa Joe. But no, they kept the belt on Samoa Joe for a couple more pay-per-views. And I feel like the championship scene ain't as strong as it was then. Nothing against Samoa Joe. I like Samoa Joe. It just, he doesn't really elevate it like MJF did. I think Swerve can do that. You can't have Hangman come in and cost the man again. People are just gonna roll their eyes like, here we go again. It's gonna be like the Roman thing.
Yeah.
You know?
I agree with you. It's just I'm going with more realistically.
And the sad thing is, I think you're right.
And because like the more I'm thinking about it, because it's like, well, because AEW likes to do the long title reigns too, and like I don't think Samoa Joe's is going to be as long as MJF's, but I just don't want it. Like, I agree with you that Swerve needs to win the title, but if you're gonna have Ospreay win it anyway, it's weird, because on the one hand, it's like Joe basically just won the thing like a couple months ago, so you don't want it to end in like two months, because then by that point, Samoa Joe might take it as like, oh, I'm just here to be the transitional champ. Like,
I get what you're saying, but I don't think they should look at it that way. I feel like they should look at as a hot hand. You know, it's like Swerve is hot. You need to put the belt on him. Sorry if it hurts Samoa Joe's feelings, but guess what? You didn't win the belt anyway. They gave it to you.
Yeah.
You know, but like I'm pretty sure in UFC, if they're like, oh man, this guy only had the belt for 1 month. You know, okay, it happens. You know. Early days of WWE, I mean, I remember they switched the title like 3 times in 2 months. You know, it happens sometimes. You gotta go with the hot hand. We did get a super chat. I think this is the first super chat on this show. From Quincy Gray, throwing $5. AEW needs to book their wrestlers right and make great storylines. Other people won't care. Yeah, I agree. Their storylines have always been weak for the most part. I mean, they got some good storylines going on, but they need to they need to book better. That's the thing. I think they got good storylines going on, but they need to book stuff better. They don't go over the top. Sometimes they do, but for the most part, they kind of keep it realistic, and that's what I like. But they need to do better booking. Like I said, having 2 title changes on 1 episode of Dynamite, that was stupid. Because you just had a show you promoted for almost 2 months. You call it Big Business, and nothing happened. Why didn't you have a title change last week? It was stupid in my opinion.
Dude, it's just very weird, because sometimes they have like these like named Dynamite, like the special episodes of Dynamite, and like nothing would happen. It's like, oh, okay. It's like,
I hate when they do that.
It's like, oh, we're gonna have Samoa Joe versus Wardlow at Big Business. Okay, that's interesting.
Yeah.
That it's the opening match. We go, oh, it's the opening match. So okay, Samoa Joe's gonna retain here. Okay, I don't really care.
Yeah, he names these events like specials or whatever to try to build hype, but like I would argue this week's episode was 1,000,000 times better than last week's episode.
It was,
you know, and I'm just like, there was no hype behind this one. You literally could have called. I don't know. I understand it's in Boston, Big Business, Mercedes Moné, Sasha Banks, and I understand that. Book the rest of the card that way, then.
Yeah,
you should have had Warlord, Samoa Joe in your main event, and then your main event in the top of the hour, your first hour, should have been Okada versus Kingston.
Yeah,
and then while you're doing that, promote this week. Oh, in Canada, we're gonna have Edge versus Christian for the whatever title, TNT title, I Quit match. Promote your shit, man.
Yeah, it's very weird the way like Tony Khan and like AEW like books and like even advertises stuff, because it's like they're like, oh, we got this big match on Dynamite, you don't want to miss it, but we're not going to tell you else what we got.
Another thing that bothers me about Tony Khan is he's like, I got a big announcement. Like, shut up with your fucking big announcements, bro. Because your big announcement don't make no sense. Like he was like, I have a big announcement. We got a show called Big Business coming up, and he did this a lot of times. And stop announcing you're hiring people, right?
Yeah.
Stop that announcement. What's awesome about wrestling, especially in the early 2000s and late 90s, was wrestlers would just show up.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh my God, because it makes it must-see TV. You have to watch every week, but you never know who's going to show up and what's going to happen. But when you sit there 2 months ahead of time, hey guys, we got a show called Big Business in Boston. Hint, hint, hint. Oh, we got this big show coming up in Chicago. Hint, hint. Like, stop. Like just do the shit, man.
I honestly don't know what's there more of, Roman Reigns returns or Tony Khan announcements. Like, it's a competition at this point where it's like Roman Reigns got to return next week. Tony Khan has a major announcement.
Man, his announcements are awful, man. Awful,
literally,
awful.
One of his major announcements was literally him going, "Oh, all in tickets are
yeah,
coming out."
Yeah, what was it, a few months ago? He's like, Tony Khan's got a major announcement. I'm like, all right, man, let's see what this is. It's like, tickets are on sale for All In. I'm like, what the fuck? Who cares? We're in America. That's London. We can't go. Like, shut up.
Why should we care? It's like, Tony, for the love of God, please.
You see Triple H going, we got a major announcement. We got tickets on sale for Crown Jewels. Like, no, shut up.
It's like, shut up. Triple H, stop talking.
Like, we got a couple questions here. Sean said, what's your thoughts on WrestleMania being 2 nights as opposed to one? I don't like the 2-night one, but I'm old school, so
this, I'm gonna differ here. I'm actually okay with it because I've been in the trenches for a while, and some WrestleManias would go to 5 hours, which is beyond ridiculous.
Yeah, and they would have like a bunch of battle royals to try to fit as many people in there as possible.
Yes, and it's
on the card.
And it's like, especially, and it sucks when you have school in the morning. So like they either start 7 to 8 o'clock and it ends at like 1 o'clock, and I'm just like, oh God, this is horrible. And 2 nights is better anyway, because that way you have like that little rest period.
But how would you feel about this? Instead of making a 2 nights, having an all day event. Like, it started at like 1 in the afternoon. And then around 5 o'clock, they take like an hour break. Like they're like, all right, we're going to intermission. And then they play like video packages, and then that way you can go take a break, get something to eat, go to the bathroom, whatnot. And then you get ready for part 2, right? Well, almost like a big concert event,
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. I just don't like the idea of them breaking up. I just feel like now they're playing shenanigans with the words. Oh, you main event of WrestleMania. Oh, night 1 or night 2, We all know night 2 is the actual main event, So I just feel like they're playing some shit with words with us right now. I'm not a fan of it. I rather them make it have an all Saturday an event. Like WrestleMania Saturday from like 1 in the afternoon to like 11 at night, but they're making so much money doing it now this way. They're making all that money on tickets because they're selling for 2 events, and all that stuff. So I guess I don't personally like it.
I mean, for money reasons, it's like, yeah, okay, I get it. Like, because at the end of the day, wrestling, like, as a wrestling company, you want to make money, because if you don't make money, you can't do your show, and then you'll end up like TNA, where you'll be wrestling in front of 10
nobody.
People. Yeah, nobody. So I'm fine with it. I'm okay with it, especially after watching a WrestleMania that was 5 hours, and I was like, you know what, I'm over this shit. Like,
you're not wrong, because when I be watching AEW pay-per-views, I'm like, man, it's just like 4 hours, bro. Come on.
But see, at least that's kind of justifiable, because it's like $60. So it's like, okay, if I'm paying $60, then yeah, I kind of should expect 4 hours. But even then, it's just like, there are so many matches on like even Revolution, for example, that were just there to be there. Like we didn't need
the super megastar big guys versus little guys. Yeah, that battle royal, whatever the fuck that thing was.
I erased it out of my memory just because it was so boring. Like it's just there's so many matches you didn't even need. It's like not every pay-per-view needs to be 4 hours. It's ludicrous.
AEW, I give a pass. One, because like you said, it's $60, and two, they don't do one every month. It's like every other month or something like that.
Well, now they're gearing up to be every month. So now
well, then they need to either lower the price or put together better matches. Stop doing shit on fucking Dynamite. Punk Fitness said, "Do you think Okada will face Omega at all in because that's what I think. If Omega is back by then and he's cleared to wrestle, probably, unless they're gonna gear up to do Okada versus Ospreay. But I think I don't know. I think Swerve versus Ospreay is the most likely one right now.
Yeah.
And Joey said, "What do you guys think of CM Punk is gonna say on Raw Monday?" I wasn't even aware he was gonna be on Raw.
I kind of forgot. I bet he's just gonna be like, "Oh, I'll be back soon. I'm gonna be the host of WrestleMania." No, I don't know if he's gonna say that. But...
I'm gonna be the special referee in Drew McIntyre's match.
And then, because I hate both of these guys, so we'll figure it out.
See, that's another thing that's like we're getting into WrestleMania right now. Other than them being in Chicago, why are you seeing Punk there? Doesn't make any sense. No. You know, like, come on, man.
You know, if they were just going to be like, "Oh, CM Punk is going to be the special guest ring announcer for," not like if they did something like really stupid with him, that honestly it'd be funny, but at the same time, I'm like, no, they're going to do the, they're probably going to do the guest referee thing to get Punk involved somewhat, but I don't know.
Quincy said, "I wish there was another big third brand like ECW, TNA is close, but not quite there." Well, they have this TNA Plus app. It's $9.99 a month that both me and Austinator signed up for, and $9.99 a month. You get the pay-per-views, the shows, the backlog, everything. I would recommend it. I put on Impact last week, and I actually watched it twice, mostly because I put it on. I was playing my PlayStation Portal, and I was watching it as I was playing. And then when it looped, I'm like, "Hey, I'll loop it back and watch it again." And I just kept playing it, and it's okay. It's not the TNA from like 10 years ago, but I mean, they got some pretty good wrestlers on there. You just kind of got to get over the fact that it feels very, very indie-ish.
Yeah.
So if you can get over the fact that the crowd is small, because I was watching Chris Sabin, I think, was in the opening match. He was wrestling whatever that guy from the X Division champion, the guy from WWE, Mustafa Ali, whatever his name.
Mustafa Ali, yeah.
Yeah, he was wrestling him, and the match was good, but the crowd was so small, you didn't get the excitement, you know?
Yeah.
So, and I kind of felt that way on Dynamite this week too, man. The crowd sucked on Dynamite. They're a bunch of non-cheering ass motherfuckers.
I mean, I think they're pretty reactive to like the Christian and Edge.
Yeah, because they were in Canada. They were hot for that match, but every other match was just like, nah. I'm like, like the Eddie Kingston match, they didn't do anything for or nothing. And I'm really mad at AEW. What you doing to my girl Sky Blue?
Like we don't know.
I love when Sky Blue came out and she was in blue. She had her backwards hat. It was something cool and different. And then they put her with Julia Hart because she sprayed mist in her face. And I'm just like, these don't feel like a good fit for each other, but whatever, you know. At least she's not jobbing out every week like she was. And then the Willow segment with Mercedes was so weird because her and Chris Statlander, man, I'm falling in love with Chris Statlander, man. But they came out to say Mercedes, and then like Willow just holding the chair very awkwardly, and then she does this lip like, and then she drops it. I'm like, that was a horrible segment. But that one dude in the back was Stokely. That dude was hilarious. He's like, "You broke her ankle before." And she's like, really? Did you have to say that? He's like, what? Oh
Well,
man.
I mean, it could have been worse. It could have been the Chris Jericho and Hook thing. God.
Yes. Oh, that was awful. Awful. Chris Jericho, go away. Like this Hook Chris Jericho thing. It was like, if there was ever a match you did not need to watch, it was that match. You have Hook. This dude weighs like 75 pounds soaking wet. You have Chris Jericho who can barely walk and his chest looks all beat up. It was like encaved and everything. I'm like, bro, go away. Both of you, go away, please.
I mean, I like Hook, but then like he beats him with like a small package, and like Jericho's like, "Oh, you got me, Sonny."
Yeah.
Like, "Oh, I got beat by a small package. Whoopsie daisy." Like,
Yeah.
he gets suplexed like 15 times, loses to a small package. He goes, "Whoopsie daisy, I lost."
Yeah.
It's like,
That match was awful, bro. I fast forwarded through most of it. We're gonna get to a couple more questions, then we're gonna close it out. Joey said, "Who's hotter, Liv, Becky, or Rita?" Who the fuck's Rita?
who's Rita? There's no woman named Rita on the roster.
Unless he meant Rhea.
That's probably what he means.
I think Liv is hotter because Liv has that gothy white girl energy. I find that attractive in a sick kind of way. I do not think Becky's attractive at all. Like at all. Like maybe when she first came in, but she done something to her face. Her face does not look like the Becky that came into WWE. But yeah, he meant Rhea. So I would go Liv, Rhea, Becky. I like Rhea. I like Rhea without all the makeup. I think she's really, really pretty without all the makeup.
Yeah. I mean, Rhea. I think Rhea's got to be number one for me. Then, this is tough. I think I got to go Liv then Becky. I think all three are good looking, but I think Rhea kind of stands apart here.
I would trade Becky in for Raquel anyway.
Yeah,
I like Raquel.
Raquel's pretty cool. God, oh man, it's the women. It's like, actually, you know what? I saw an excerpt from Becky's book that made me respect her like a lot more than I do.
That has nothing to do with her looks, bro.
Well, no, I know it has nothing to do with her looks, but cause speaking of Becky, so she did a book recently, and she was talking about what she came back at SummerSlam and buried. Well, I would say buried, but we'll say Vince buried Bianca Belair. And Becky said, like, after that happened, she's like, "No, I'm gonna get you to WrestleMania. You're gonna get your win back," and she did that. And I was like, you know what? Respect. That actually shows the level of character she has. And I'm like, you know what?
I think Bianca is gorgeous too. I don't like that long fucking weave in her hair. I hate that. It's just so ghetto. I don't like that. I think she's hot. I think Jade Cargill. I like Jade Cargill in AEW.
Yeah.
I thought she was attractive too. I like Raquel. I like Liv. I don't like Liv as a wrestler. I like her as like eye candy. And I like Rhea without makeup. You know, when she actually has her long hair without makeup, she looks natural. Like she's really, really cute. All right, let's get to 2 more questions and we'll get out of here. I thought I saw one. Okay, we'll go someone else since Joey here. Okay. Punk Fitness, thoughts on thoughts on CM Punk 2024 after his run in AEW?
What is there to talk about? The guy just got hurt. Like,
yeah, he came back, delivered a couple good promos, and got hurt. So
what is there to talk about?
Yeah, there's nothing really to talk about. I mean, I still think CM Punk is one of the best in the business on the microphone, but he didn't do anything. He gave some great promos, like great promos when he got back to Raw, but he didn't do anything. And
just don't show him real glass, or else he'll freak the fuck out.
Yeah, dude, if he was in AEW when Darby did that spot, bro, he would have flipped his shit, man.
he would have fucking beat him. He would have choked him out too. He would have put him in the Tazahajime.
Yeah, you're not making it to Mount Everest, bro. I'm gonna kill you.
And then he beat up Tony Khan too, just for the fun of it.
Last question. Joey said thoughts on Ronda calling out WWE. Look, man, more people need to do what Ronda Rousey did. More people need to call out Bruce Pritchard and all them other guys. That the thing is, when Harvey Weinstein got sent to prison, my thing was, do you think he was the only one that did shit like that? I mean, hell, Scream 3 made fun of the fact that Hollywood did that shit. You know, I remember in Scream 3, it was like, oh, Sydney's mom, she slept with everybody to get movie roles. And then you had the sleazy producer that was like, yeah, I did it. Like everybody did it back then, the casting couch shit. Like Weinstein wasn't the only one, and I'm telling you right now, isn't the only one. There's people walking free right now in Hollywood that does that shit all the time or has done that shit. So Vince McMahon doing the shit, like, did you not watch Raw in the 90s and 2000s? The stuff he did to Tori Wilson, Sable, Deborah, like the list goes on and on. Like I remember the segment where they had Trish stripped down in the middle of the ring and then like try to shove his face in her ass. Like if he's doing that in front of the camera, what the fuck do you think is going on behind the camera?
Shitting on people's heads, I guess. Apparently,
you know, but more people need to come out like her and say this sort of thing, you know, because you know that shit happened. Like Ashley committed suicide because of being raped and shit from shit that's going on in WWE.
Yeah. And I've seen people complain about this where it's like, oh, well, Ronda didn't say anything while she was in WWE. I'm like, well, Vince was still in power then.
Yeah.
What exactly was she supposed to like? What did you expect her to say? Because if she said anything against him, there would have been consequences her way in like lawsuits, being blackballed.
People don't understand when you're working somewhere, these people have power over you. If you need a job and you need a paycheck and stuff, you just can't come out and say, hey, yeah, this dude sexual harassed me or whatnot. That's your job. And not only that, when he has that much power, you can be blackballed and not get a job anywhere else. Right? Yeah. Again, look at the Ashley stuff. He sexually harassed her several times, and then when she turned him down, he fucking tanked her whole career.
Yeah.
You know, it just you can't just sit there and say, oh, well, how come they didn't say nothing? They got too much fucking power.
Yeah.
You know, it's like I can't stand Vince. I never liked Vince, right? Once you go back, because like I said before in another stream, I like wrestling history. So I go back and I watch all kinds of documentaries. You go look at some of the documentaries of his steroid, you know, trial and all this different scandals and stuff he did. The stuff with Owen Hart, all this stuff, man. This dude has been shady for decades. For decades, man.
He's a real, like, he's the same guy that, like, he literally pitched an incest angle.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, what the fuck are you doing, Vince?
Yeah. And I'm one of the things like, Vince, if you want to have sex with your talent, you're a grown man, they're grown women, do whatever you want. But if they're telling you no, then that's where you draw the line. You know, I don't care if you're fucking Tori Wilson or whoever, whatnot. If both of you are fine with it, and she knows like, hey, I'm doing this for my career, but I'm okay with it, then that's your business. I'm not gonna say nothing about that. But when you're like sex trafficking somebody, you know, and passing them around like they're nothing, and then you bury certain people because they don't want to suck your dick, that's where you draw the line.
Yeah, it's just weird. It's just not a good situation whatsoever with Vince. Like, I mean, and I've said this before. I don't know what's worse: the fact that nobody was surprised, or the fact that he can't spell. Like, it's because like when the allegations first started, we all just went, yeah, we believe it. Like nobody turned their heads and went, no. Everyone just went, yeah. And we figured.
Yeah, that's pretty much what we thought, yeah.
But then once more information started to come out, then that's when it went, oh no.
Yeah.
This Vince, what the fuck are you doing? Like,
why are you taking shits on people?
Like I think I was listening to Jim Cornette talk about it, where he's like, at first when you're reading it and like you don't know anything else, and you just read the thing where it's like your former boss shat on someone's head, you're gonna fucking laugh about it because it's like it's absurd. But then once you start to read more into it, you're like, oh, this is bad. Like this is gross. And then it's like, it's just, I don't know, man. It's just
that's
like,
what happens when you're super rich, bro, and you think you can get away with everything.
That's what it is, and it's disappointing. It's really sad because I've seen people celebrate it as like, oh, Vince McMahon's out of creative. This is the greatest day ever. It's like, no, it's really not, because at the end of the day, yes, he's out of power, great, but this is more than creative now. This isn't. Let's take the shit out of the company aside. This is a fucking guy that's sick in the head, who's done some horrible things. The company's least of our worries at this point. Like the guy, like we know he's not going to get jail time because of how much money he has.
Yeah.
Like I don't think he'll ever be back in the company whatsoever. I think Vince is gone. Like there's no way he's coming back. There's definitely going to be a lot of like cleansing and a lot of like there's going to be a lot more stuff coming out, I bet, and there's going to be a lot of firings here soon. Like I think that's kind of why they had to bring Dwayne Johnson in too, because like we don't know how many more. We don't know who's going to get fired. We don't know how many people are going to get fired. Like Stephanie left way before this because she knew like, oh, the blowback was going to be huge. Yeah. So I would suspect like guys like Bruce Pritchard are gone. Like Kevin Dunn's gone too. Like Kevin Dunn and John Laurinaitis left because they were probably involved in that stuff. Like I wouldn't be surprised if Triple H gets fired after this, because we don't know how. Like I'm not saying Triple H did anything, but we know that Triple H had to have known something.
Yeah.
So it's
100%.
Like there's no way he didn't know. He's literally married to Vince's daughter, and like he's worked closely with Vince. So it's like we know he has to know something. And a lot of the top guys, like maybe even like a Hogan or an Austin or a Taker, had to have known something. Like there's no way that you're that close with Vince and you don't know what he did. Like even like guys like maybe not necessarily like a Cena or like an Orton, but like someone had to have known backstage like what Vince was doing.
Agreed, 100%, 100%. All right, man. I think we are done for today, and we will come back again next week. Hopefully next week more positive.
Yeah.
More positive next week. We're getting closer to WrestleMania, so I have faith that next week it's going to start revving up, So might even start revving up tonight, because it's supposed to be Cody face to face with Roman tonight. We'll see how that turns out. But
you want to know how that's going to turn out? It's for the first minute they're going to stare down, and then The Rock's going to come out.
Oh.
And then The Rock is going to be like, stand back, Roman, I got this.
Don't jinx it, man. Don't jinx it. Austin, where can the people find you, sir?
You can find me on my channel where I do things on occasion. You can find me on the Hangout on Wednesdays, and you can find me here on Fridays for Off the Top Rope. I'm everywhere. Check me out. Rob, thanks for having me on. This is fun. Talking about wrestling and just absolutely like sometimes wrestling just annoys it also annoys me.
Yeah.
And it's just it's good to vet about it at least.
So. Yeah, that's what it is. Less of a recap show, but more of a bitching session. But hey, it's fun. But just to let everybody know who's watching right now, this episode will be archived on the Off the Top Rope Wrestling channel. So subscribe to that channel. So once we go off, it's not going to stay on the main channel. It's going to go over to the Off the Top Rope Wrestling channel. So go over there and subscribe. Thank you, Austin. Appreciate you. Goodbye, everybody. Have a great day. Have a good weekend. Stay safe.